Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like Ollie Marmol, is not ready for a challenge. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Hi, everyone. Hey, Nate.
Hey,
Look at this.
I know we are together
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable, frankly. And
Yeah.
this week, we are going to be talking about an interesting week of baseball. We'll be breaking down what is working well and what is still not working. And we're going to talk about the upcoming series against the Pirates and the Diamondbacks. If you have an idea for the opening bit, tweet us at Talk About Birds. Well, Hambone, here we are.
Here we are.
We are like 6 feet away from each other.
Well, all day, for the past 3 days, we've been like 12 inches from each other, sitting in baseball seats next to each other.
Sleeping in the same bed.
Sleeping in the same bed, as mother expects us to, of course.
Of course, eating spaghetti, sharing our plate.
Of course.
Yes. No, it's been great. I've been now in Denver for 3 days. We just got back from the Wednesday day game.
Within the hour.
Yeah, I'm still stinky as hell. I've been wearing.
It's worn the same shirt for 3 days in a row.
It's my tradition. I have my Ozzie Smith Wizard of Oz t-shirt that I love, and I wear it to like 99% of games that I go to. And when you go to 3 games in a row, like why
in that hot Denver sun?
Yeah, it is hot here. You know, it's normally I come to Denver and it's a cooler, leaving the hell pits of St. Louis to come to Denver. It's normally cooler, but this week it's hot here. It's like you're closer to the sun up here. The air is thinner.
Wow.
Why do people live here?
Great question. Why do you come here? I guess would be my rebuttal to that question.
Not answerable. I will say that it's been good though. I've been eating like a little piggy.
Oh my God.
We've gone to a bunch of restaurants.
Yes.
I had to remind myself to drink water.
Wait, so we've had tacos, pizza.
I've had breakfast burritos every day. We also went to what did we do yesterday? Hold on. We had pizza today.
Tacos yesterday.
Yeah. Oh, fried chicken.
Fried chicken. There we go. Yes.
Korean fried chicken.
Korean fried chicken. Yeah. I knew it was something decadent.
Yeah. So we've really been going to town. I'm gonna eat like white rice and water for the next 2 weeks.
You know, I'm gonna have an acai bowl.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Acai. I'm gonna have an acai bowl.
There's a spot like the closest establishment to my house is a like a bowl place, you know, like a
do they have acai?
I'm sure they do.
Wow.
Yeah. Strawberry toast.
Oh,
kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Millennials love it.
I think I'll try it. But yeah, it's been good. You know, Denver's a cool town. Everyone here is either super fit or looks like Joe Dirt, which is which is a good vibe.
Yeah. It's like Mountain Dirty or like Patagonia Chic.
Yeah,
and that's about it. I don't know where I fall in that.
Trash.
Yeah,
there's the third.
I still got the Missouri trash on me.
You're closer to Joe Dirt than the Patagonia Chic.
I'm okay with that.
I'll say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been cool. The games, Coors Field is a great stadium.
Yes.
At this point, the stadium I've been to the most outside of Busch Stadium, and we participated in an activity today that we promised. We promised last week that we would do, kind of spur of the moment, and we did it.
And we did it.
We did do it, and we found Ben had scouted it out already, so we knew where it was.
Yeah.
But we did the pitch speed game at the ballpark
at the Interactive Center or whatever, the Interactive Baseball Complex or whatever at Coors Field. We were in line with actual children.
Yes.
I think
intimidating
high school age kids. One kid was talking about like he just had Tommy John surgery or something like that. He said he was coming back from some type of injury.
Yeah, they were the people that were with him were really hyping him too. He was like 17, taller than both of us.
Yes, big kid,
lefty.
Yeah,
he did fine.
I mean,
they were all disappointed.
Can we talk about it?
Well, he said the gun is slow.
My ass.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, Maybe I agree. I don't
Maybe.
know.
I don't know. So, first of all, only $5, affordable. We were both expecting to spend like $25
Yeah,
each on this stupid little thing, but it was $5. You got 5 pitches.
6 pitches.
Well,
Oh,
5
sorry,
5
sorry, sorry,
pitches
sorry. Yes,
normal,
yes,
and
yes,
then
yes.
you had to guess what your last pitch, your 6th pitch would
Yes.
be.
Yeah, essentially you got to, like, calibrate your arm
Yeah.
and then guess the miles per hour you're gonna throw on your final pitch.
And if you did guess correctly what your final pitch is, you got a little prize. It was a little small pack of baseball cards.
It was such a small
It's like
prize.
it's like 6 cards in clear plastic wrap,
Yeah.
and, but I do wanna point out that is really the goal of this game. That is how you
Oh,
win
okay.
in this game,
Mm,
as established by the rules on the scoreboard.
yes.
So, I just wanna lay that out there. I wanna get that out first, that really winning the game
Sure.
is predicting your last pitch.
Okay.
So I went first after, some teenage girls, threw before me, and I was
I mean, like, kids wearing braces, like, we were the
yeah,
oldest people there. It was it was kind of embarrassing.
and, I was a little worried.
Yeah.
They're touching the 30s. I'm thinking I gotta be better than that. This whole thing started because of my
Your
Topgolf experience.
embarrassing performance,
Yeah,
yeah.
where I hit 44,
Yeah,
on the gun at the Topgolf suite.
yeah.
And so, well, I exceeded expectations, but those expectations were low. I
Mhm.
did do better than 44 miles per hour. I threw 6 pitches, and I peaked at a hot 49
40
miles per hour.
that's what the peak was, yeah. Yeah, you're sitting in the high 40s, 47, 48, and
Yeah,
then when you really ramped it up and
we did.
obviously, like, just make this clear, we will be posting these videos
Yeah,
online.
we have it.
There is video documentation, so
Yeah,
we will share this out. But you looked great.
thank you. Little uncomfortable, there was, like, a slight slant to, make it feel like you were a
It was a mound,
which
yeah,
was on a mound,
yeah. There was a
which
rubber and everything, yeah.
yeah, it made it worse, made it
For
harder.
that was harder for you?
Yeah,
You
my
you
balance was all off.
okay.
But we also
Yeah,
had just ate,
an entire
like
pizza.
yeah, a full pizza,
Yes,
with, like, 4 toppings,
yes.
probably like a 20-inch pizza because it was a New York style, like a thinner crust.
Forget about it.
Hey, I'm walking here to eat my pie.
Yeah,
So feeling good, feeling loose. We ate the entire pizza, and we were like
and a beer.
12 minutes later,
Yeah,
we were at the pitch, thing.
yeah,
So, I hit a hot 49,
yeah.
but more importantly, I accurately predicted
Wow.
my last pitch, and so I got a little pack of cards here, which
Very impressive.
I'm a winner.
I think we're all impressed.
Yeah, you should be.
Slow clap, please.
Yeah, and so then after that, you went, and I'll let you, talk about your own performance
I
a
mean,
bit.
obviously, I went up there and I threw harder than you. I don't know what else there is to really say.
Surprising no one. I said it first. I was like, you're going to destroy me
Yeah.
on this game."
Yeah, I will say it was weird. The experience was weird in the sense that you're in this like very small cage and you're throwing to a target that's like what 15 feet in front of you, which was kind of strange.
Yeah,
There was also a tiny little old man in a tiny little chair in the corner
yeah.
who did not say a word to me.
No, nothing.
He just handed me baseballs and then gestured for me to pick them up after I threw them.
Yeah, we had to do all the work. We
But I
had to
will,
you had to clean up after yourself in
which is
this.
fair, which is
Yeah, it's
fair.
fine.
I mean, we're idiots. So like,
Yeah.
make us go pick it
Also,
up.
I he would toss the ball to you, and I dropped one of them, which was, a real peak performance.
Yeah, we're athletes.
Yeah.
But I think I maxed out at 69.
Nice.
Huh, nice.
Yeah.
I think I was sitting in the mid 60s. I honestly, after watching those kids throw, I was like, if I break 50, this is going to be great.
You were
So,
sweating. You
so
were really nervous.
getting into the
Yeah.
60s, I was very happy about that. I
Yeah.
do think if I got back there, I might say it right now. I'm going to go back there this season. I think I can get into the 70s.
Yeah.
Um, but I felt pretty good about that. I will say one of those throws, I definitely like felt it from my elbow to my fingertips. Like
Yeah.
I think that was probably when I hit 69. Like was throwing a little like I don't know. I think I feel fine now, but it was I
Yeah.
haven't felt that feeling in a long time. I felt old.
Yeah. Well, sure. Personally, I feel like I'm never gonna recover. Um,
TJ for sure.
yeah, I need Tommy
Going
John.
under the knife.
Yeah, it was not great. I had intended on spending the last week, doing some degree of training for this, some sort of
Yeah,
stretching, stretching regiment,
yeah.
some
Those
sort of
weighted balls.
yeah,
Yeah,
going to the backyard,
right.
and instead I just ate pizza, tacos, and fried chicken. Um, I took like what is it like the John Lackey approach, you know? Weren't
Like, more like the John Daly approach.
weren't they the ones eating fried chicken in the
Oh, yeah, they were the, when
it
Boston,
was yeah.
they called themselves idiots or something like that.
Yeah.
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 Drunk idiots,
Drunk
something
idiots, they
like
were
that,
eating
yeah.
fried chicken
Yeah, fried chicken and beer in the
in the
clubhouse. Yeah,
clubhouse, yeah. So I took that approach
yeah.
and turns out not not effective,
No.
though I did do better than I did at Topgolf, so
Well, yeah, you did. I will also say when I played the video back to Nate, he looked at the video and goes, "Wow, I'm moving slow."
I felt like I was throwing as hard as I can, and I watched the video, and it looks like I'm not even trying. So I've gotta there's some disconnect between
Yeah.
what I think I'm doing and what I'm actually doing.
Man, that you've never said a truer thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess that's my whole life
Yeah.
is I'm not doing what I think I'm
Right.
doing, and nearly as effective as I think I
But
am.
at peak confidence.
I could feel it. I was all in my upper half. I was not getting that, the rotation in the bottom half, not
Yeah.
using my legs,
No.
none of that.
No. Yeah, you
No.
weren't.
Yeah. So, but it was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun,
We did it.
We did do it. We
Yeah.
said we would, and we did it. And also, I won because I accurately predicted my last throw,
I think if
and
you go back and listen to the tape, it was about
it
overall velo
they
and
did not, no.
yeah.
The rules of the game changed when there were, rules to the game
Okay.
on the wall. And so,
I
yeah,
think maybe I should pitch to you.
did you throw 20 miles per hour faster than me with seemingly, like a third of the effort that I thought I was giving?
Yeah.
Yes, but you know what? That's fine.
Okay.
I'm a winner.
Alright. Well, at least we did that, and that's
Yeah,
closed. I think next year I'm gonna call it out right now. Next year, there's a home run challenge at the ballpark that's
yeah,
right next to the fast pitch, and I think we'll have to re-up the
yeah.
competition.
I'll
Yeah.
be back next year,
Yeah.
and we'll definitely do
Yeah.
that. I don't know what the I don't know what Bush has. I think probably the same stuff.
Yeah.
So if you make it out to St. Louis for a game, maybe we'll look at that
Yeah.
too.
And I'll
Um,
win that too.
but yeah, probably. I know I'm not.
Damn it.
So yeah, so I head back tomorrow, but it's been a great time. The series turned out to be good, but I had
Thank
a
goodness.
moment when I landed in at Denver Airport, and I was walking through, and I heard a guy on the phone say to someone, uh, "Well, it's already." He goes, "Well, shit, it's day one, and this whole thing's already off the rails." And that's kinda how I was feeling about the Cardinals for a little bit.
Yeah.
But feeling a little better after, today's game and, yesterday's game. Um, and mostly we at least have one thing that is, like, unequivocally awesome
Yeah.
and fun as a Cardinal fan, and we got to see, 3 steps in it, which is the Jordan Walker, hit streak,
Yeah.
which he is now at 12, after today. Um,
It's it's hard to kind of undersell how awesome this is. Like, and I also like, I guess to pre-counter an argument against what we're witnessing. It's like, yeah, is a hit streak that meaningful? Is he just getting lucky in certain places? Like, is there like inherent value in hitting game after game? I think that there is. I think like, I don't know. I get either side, but either way, he's doing it in so many different ways, which I think
right.
is amazing. He's slapping the ball to the other way. He's hitting laser beams out of the ballpark today on Wednesday when we're recording. The hit that he had that broke the cycle was a broken bat single up the middle,
Yeah,
which just speaks to like, oh, he's so strong and so in the zone and so good at what he does that even if it is bad contact, even if the bat is getting broke, he can still get singles. Like, maybe this kid's going to hit 300 for a long time when you watch that kind of skill set.
yeah,
It's just impressive. He's got wheels. I mean, it's just everything you want to see from him. We were talking to a Braves fan today at the game. Give the kid the Ronald Acuna Jr. Extension
right
right
now.
now.
Add some on it. It's been a few years since whatever you gotta do to keep him in house. We see it. It's the trend in baseball now. make him at 20 years old a 100 millionaire, 130, 140, whatever it is,
Yeah.
light him up with cash,
Yeah.
generational wealth, get it.
Yeah.
We've seen enough.
I
Honestly, I think we have,
yeah.
like, you never know, but uh, what also stood out to me is like what we're seeing is what the value of uh, exit like measuring exit
Yeah.
velocity and understanding how hard someone is hitting the ball, because that's where those hits are coming from, like the one that you talked about today. Uh, he's hitting the ball so hard that even when he has a negative launch angle, uh, he's still turning it into hits, and he's got the speed also to beat out some of those ones that may not be a hit for a slower person. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when he starts to actually consistently barrel the ball. Feel like the ball is just going to get pulverized. It's going to be like Sandlot,
Yeah.
where the cover, like literally the cover of the ball is gonna tear off.
I really I think we said this a week or 2 ago, but I really do think he is going to really quickly be in those Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, O'Neal Cruz type exit velos with like in the high teen or one teens and low 120s very, very soon. It seems almost inevitable. He just has to like really get behind the ball. I think if memory serves, I'd have to look this up. I don't think he has barreled a ball yet by the technical definition of
Yeah,
a barrel, which is a hit above, I think it's above 95 at 26 to 30-degree launch angle. I might be making that up. I don't know, but it's somewhere in there. So obviously you can like hit a home run without technically barreling it, but obviously that is the best desired contact. And
he's doing all this without
he
barreling.
has a 10 is a 10 game hitting streak,
12.
12 game hit
Yeah,
12 game hitting streak
yeah.
without barreling a ball and a couple of home runs. It's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be up there with your Aaron Judges, your Giancarlo Stantons, your Taylor Motters,
Yeah.
the people really leading the league in exit velocity.
Matter's been great.
He's doing fine, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, he's still, I believe,
That
I
can't be true still.
I haven't looked at it in a couple days, but at least a couple days ago, he still had in the top 5 hardest hit balls of the season, with one of the doubles he hit earlier in the season, so,
I'm baseball savanting right now, so
okay.
if this is still true, I'm shocked, but
Yeah. Um, Also Jordan Walker, like, we see it on TV, uh, and you kinda get a sense of it, but I will say being in person, and Ben and I had some really good seats through the whole series, but we really, one of the nice things about Coors Field is that you can get 2 tickets behind home plate. We were about 6, 7 rows back. Those 2 tickets cost less than a single ticket for those seats would have cost in Busch Stadium.
yeah.
So we were able to get, pretty close.
You're 5th row today.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was great, and seeing Jordan Walker up close,
Man,
he's a big boy,
yeah, he is.
and we were watching replays in the game. We were not in the standard broadcast, but the man who was directly in the seat to the left of me was.
Big guy, big red shirt.
Big red shirts. If
Yeah.
you're watching the game, watching replays, and you see that guy, I'm sort of, like, tucked in
Yeah,
behind him.
yeah.
Great, super nice. We were surrounded by Cardinal
There's
fans
Cardinals fans like crazy.
the
Yeah,
whole all 3 games,
yeah,
and that's pretty standard for these
yeah,
series, but I would have expected it's only the 2nd week of the season. I thought maybe there would still be a contingent of Rocky fans
yeah,
dominating the crowd, and don't get me wrong, there were a fair amount of
yeah,
Rockies fans, but it was probably 50-50,
yeah.
Cardinal to Rockies.
Jordan Walker got a standing ovation for extending his hit streak,
Yeah,
like full on standing
yeah,
ovation for like an extended one, like
yeah.
a couple of minutes.
It was awesome.
At at a an away ballpark, which is insane. But yeah, I mean that's kind of how it is. Like that, especially if a team with a good fan base comes through Denver, that's who you're going to see here. Like that's why I don't go to Dodgers games when they come here, is because LA is a little too strong.
Yeah.
Um, but no, it kind of makes it fun. It makes it fun when you're on the rooting side. When I go to every other game, the Cardinals aren't playing, and I'm on the Rockies side. It can be it wears you out a little bit, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, not a great team.
No.
Uh,
That should be said on top of all this, like, I'm so happy the Cardinals bounce back, but the Rockies are pretty pathetic from a position player group standpoint, and, the pitching isn't good either. So I'm happy they were able to slug it out and kind of, like, dirge through this series. The wins were much needed, but
Yeah.
the
We
games
were
just did not look crisp.
we were feeling pretty bad, so Cardinals get
Yeah,
trounced pretty much game 1, and then game 2, halfway through the game, we were feeling pretty bad,
yeah,
pretty low.
yeah.
Uh,
Wasn't great.
Not great, but Cardinals turn it around, put up 9 runs in the second game, which was a ton of fun.
Yeah,
Gorman go-ahead home run, and then today's game, similar thing, although the Cardinals were essentially leading for the majority of the game, but Rockies come back. Gorman yet again has a go-ahead home run, and we walked out of there feeling much better, at least for the Cardinal offense. Um, the pitching, we still have a lot to talk about.
yeah,
So why don't we jump in here and talk about the week more broadly
yeah,
because we had the Cardinals take 2 of 3 from the Rockies in Coors, which Rockies aren't good, but the offensive environment, you never know, right? They do have some boppers, but they also lose 1 or 2 of 3 to the Brewers in Milwaukee, which is another stadium and another environment where if you're in the middle of the season, losing a series against the Brewers at home, you're not gonna like it, but you're also it's pretty easy to hand wave it away.
yeah,
Right now, it felt like a continuation of a lot of trends. It felt particularly bad. Feeling a little bit better about after the Rocky series, but still, it's a pretty bad team. So, I think we wanted to start by talking about the pitching. It's really the where I think most of the problems are coming from. So jumping into the pitching, we like to be we're a positive show. We like to talk about the positives more
right.
than the negatives. So I do want to start with talking about Jordan Montgomery. Finally, Cardinals get a quality start. We get a deep run by a starter who just looks good end to end. He has a stellar start against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, I mean, he got to a point in that game where he was just striking people out at will, which
Yeah,
was great to see. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about how the Cardinals' starting pitching problem and pitching problem in general is that they don't strike people out. So seeing Jordan Montgomery get into a groove against, I mean, their offense is fine.
yeah,
It's not a great offense. The Cardinals' offense should be much better, but they have boppers on there and guys that are tough to get out. And Willie Adames continues to, I think, do everything really really well for them.
yeah,
And man, the Brewers should extend him, but I don't think they're going to. Um,
yeah.
but seeing him be able to, I mean, it's when he's locating both fastballs on either side of the plate, and then he comes with the change and the breaking stuff. Obviously, like I don't think I'm breaking any news, but that's when he's pitching well. And seeing him be able to bore that fastball in on right-handers and then get the Ks away with soft stuff has me feeling very, very excited. And the Cardinals starting rotation and bullpen need more starts like that to help them out. And for I guess if I was a betting man, maybe I would have bet that it would have taken this long for the Cardinals to get their first quality start because the pitching is the way that it is. But I I don't wanna talk about a positive thing and end up being negative, but a little to do a little bit of that. Like, I think what's been so frustrating about the Cardinals starting pitching is not that they are gaining or, they're getting hit around a little bit. It's that they are getting hit hard, and the defense is unable to make plays on the balls because they are being hit so hard and so
Right,
often. Like, you have to if you're not going to strike guys out a lot, you have to induce weak contact. And if you're not doing either of those, it looks like what we've been watching, which has been very frustrating.
right.
To wrap that all around, Montgomery was doing both.
Yeah,
He was striking people out and getting limited or at weak contact. So that was much needed. I think like he will far and away be the most productive pitcher for the Cardinals this year. That's the most likely outcome at least.
which is
And
what we
seeing that is good.
which is what we thought, right?
I
Like,
mean, it's what the Cardinals thought.
yeah. I think going into the season, I would have said it's probably a coin flip between Michaelis and Montgomery on who will have the best season. But we were all hopeful it was Montgomery because it felt like Montgomery still had a next tick up,
Yeah.
and Michaelis uh, we know what he is, right? He's been in the league for a long time at this point, and we're really just looking for a repeat of 2022.
Yeah.
And if he just does that and is the best pitcher on the team, you're probably not super happy. So we were hoping that Montgomery would take a step up and really be the best pitcher on the team and hopefully get extended.
Yeah.
And we saw that against the Brewers at their stadium. He definitely looked like the best pitcher on the team.
Yeah, like, realistically, Montgomery makes the most sense to take that tick up like you're talking
Yeah.
about, and then Jack, if he can get things figured out, which thank goodness he had a good start today.
Man, I
Um,
we were both after, Matt's got lit up and then
yeah,
Michaelis got lit up, and after what Flaherty has done in the first 2 starts, was feeling pretty nervous going into the game today, and, still not great, not the Jack that we truly want and know is possible, but I would say a good step forward. The walks were down, strikeouts were up, and it looked better.
yeah,
So, really wild start for Flaherty. It's like it's a weird combo where he's managed to put in some innings, go a little bit deeper into games, but he's all over the place with walks, and so it feels like we're at a turning point where either Jack Flaherty is going to start getting crushed or he's gonna make the adjustment, rein in that wildness a little bit, and maybe look like the Jack that we all think he could be. And today's start, we haven't gone back and watched any of, like, the highlights or any of the we were, like, got done from the game and we're recording. So,
immediately, yeah,
this is at least from my eye, it looked he looked a lot better.
and you got great eyes.
Yeah, I'm
Um
known.
Known for your eyes. Yeah, so Jack went 5 and a third today. And I think that what's most important, 1 walk against 6 Ks. I will say though, when we sat down and Jerks and Profar hit a home run on the first pitch, I think we all just were like, I gotta go
Uh-oh.
get another Coors.
Yep.
Like this is not going to be a great game. But we kind of talked about this last episode, and I do mean this. Like, I would much rather have Jack Flaherty have 1 walk again and 5 hits than 6 walks or 7 walks or what
Right.
else he's done. I'd rather him stay in the zone and get hit around a little bit and stay competitive and have opportunity for the strikeout
Yeah.
than to do what he was doing. So I still think even though it's not the best start, even though it's only 5 and a third, that's still a huge step forward.
Yeah.
And like all the Coors things, all like Coors is a hard place to pitch in. It produces a ridiculous amount of extra base hits. And he came in there and he had his best start of the season. That has to be a big red plus check mark, whatever the hell you want to
Yeah.
call it. Like that's great. So yes.
Speaking of staying in the zone, we accomplished a life goal today. We both yelled at Angel Hernandez,
Yeah.
so that was fun, and
Yeah.
we're close enough. Now, I know he's zoning it out.
Yeah.
He doesn't care, but it matters to me.
I think he cares.
He hurt us.
This
He
is a regional podcast host
That's a good
yelling
point.
at him. I mean, how do you not take that
I
home?
did scream, "Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
and then the usher tried to kick us out of our seats for,
yeah,
like, the 4th time.
yeah, and then Nate also said, "Do you know who
"Do
I
you know
am?"
who I am?" Strict enforcement here
Oh, yeah.
at Coors, uh there was an overzealous usher who kinda looked like Kurt Russell,
Yeah,
who really didn't believe anyone should have been in the seats that they were
I
in.
know. I mean, I get it. You look at us and
Yeah,
it makes sense.
yeah.
But,
Of
like
these bags of slop get into these seats.
yeah, um, yeah, they are aggressive at Coors Field. I will say if you're coming out here for some reason, be ready to be I don't know. It's just not like any other ballpark I've been to. I'll say that.
Which is funny when 60% of the seats are empty. Like, who are you protecting? You know?
I yeah, I don't know. I I've been I've been told to not put my feet on the railing so many times. Like they're very weird here. I
Yeah.
don't yeah.
They're keeping it pristine.
Thank goodness,
They
yeah,
got those trees
yeah.
out there, you gotta keep those
Um,
looking nice.
we sat near Dick Monfort,
Oh,
last night.
yeah, and
Yes.
a hero who was sitting next to us yelled at Dick Monfort, who was 10 feet from us, "Sell the team, Dick."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he did. Yeah, we had a couple of guys that were had a couple of beverages
Yeah,
behind us, and they were having a great time. I don't disagree.
yeah,
Dick
no,
should sell the
you
team.
should sell the team.
Um,
Dinger, the Triceratops mascot, ran
yeah,
into me,
yes.
or maybe probably more accurately, I ran into him,
I
but
would believe that
yeah,
more, yeah,
so that was fun.
yeah. Alright,
Let's talk about Steven Matz for a second.
yeah.
Um, so got touched in game
Whew,
1
yeah, he did.
of the series against the Rockies. But we'll talk about some of the underlying numbers here, but, like, of the starting pitchers that are struggling a little bit, he's the one that I'm least worried about. I st
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying there's nothing to worry about, but there like, watching it, I still feel like he has his stuff is there. He's getting strikeouts. I don't
He's
wanna
not walking
He's not
people.
walking people, not anything out of the ordinary. Uh, I think he still looking good. We looked it up. This is a pretty interesting number. His BABIP, batting average on balls in play. So when the opponent puts the ball in play, it was nearly 500. So he's getting a little unlucky. And incredibly small sample sizes, only what 10 innings? Like that amount of luck is going to really skew things. His xFIP expected fielding independent is like 3.4 ERA. So not like if everything had gone exactly right, he's still mid 3 ERA. So it's not like I'm saying he should be crushing it right now, but I feel like he's the one that needs to make the least amount of adjustments, the
Yeah.
least amount of change.
Yeah, and I think, like, well, a 500 BABIP, that's like I would run a 500 BABIP if I was a pitcher in the big leagues, just because, like, they would half the time, they would hit it to a fielder. Like,
Yeah.
they would hit it every time, but half the time they would get out. Maybe they'd run a higher BABIP on me. Um, but yeah, I think it's
Well, if
like,
you're throwing that cheese, that
oh,
69,
oh, baby.
you didn't even show the machine your slider.
I actually bet they would have a hard time hitting my fastball because 'cause it'd be so slow.
It would be hitting them
Yeah,
half the
yeah.
time. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it like for a sinker ball pitcher to have a BABIP that high with the level of defense that he has behind him is absolutely insane, and that will normalize. I do think what is uh, a little more frustrating is that we were looking at his baseball savant page the other day and looking at his heat map for his sinker, and his heat map is going or the sinker is riding high and inside to right-handed and high and outside for left-handed pitchers, and like I obviously, if you're a sinker ball pitcher, you need to live at the bottom of the zone. He has the heat, the 95 plus on the sinker to get a lot of guys out. But if you're throwing that ball middle, or middle up, or middle in, like that is the sweet spot. And I think it's kind of a combination of all these things. Like get the sinker down, which I think he will do. He's
Yeah.
done that for years and years, to varying levels of success. Um, but, well, like, once that starts happening, and the BABIP starts normalizing, I would not be surprised if this upcoming start, or the start after that, we see a much better looking Steven Matz. But, like, just to turn it all the way around, like, his fastball has had good life on it. He isn't walking people. He kinda lost his mind a little bit on the game that we were watching. It looked like he was about to punch a hole through a wall.
Yeah.
Um,
Unhappy.
very unhappy.
Yeah.
So he cares.
You wanna see it.
You wanna see it.
You wanna see it.
I hope he's okay, though.
Yeah. So we've talked about Montgomery, we've talked about Flaherty, we've talked about Matz, and generally we're trying to take like a positive approach. But of course, if you're a Cardinal fan out there, you're probably not super happy with where the Cardinals are right now. And I don't want to like hide that or pretend that there aren't problems. But like to me, the only starting pitcher right now that I am a little actually worried about is Michaelis. We saw CJ Crone. What was that? 480 feet dead center
I I don't
on. Like,
he hit the concourse. If you know Coors Field at all, he basically hit the Todd Helton grill, which is a mile away from home plate. I am pretty sure the only time I've seen a ball hit there was during the home run derby.
yeah,
Uh, it was a bomb.
yeah, and, Miles
It could not have
Michaelis,
come at a worse time either.
yeah, dead center, flat, just I mean, what else? Like, you know, that's what happens, right? So, pretty concerned about Michaelis. Here's what I'm thinking. I think we need to start already. I think we need to start filtering in some other starts from some guys. I wanna see Liberatore. I wanna see Liberatore get
Yeah.
a start.
Well, I think well, first off, let's just get all the lefties we can, right? I love it.
Yeah,
But there were reports of Liberatore sitting, not sitting, but hitting high 90s. I think I saw 98 in
yeah,
his last AAA start. Um, he's, I mean, it seems pretty clear. He's made some meaningful adjustments.
yeah.
Um, and if the Cardinals ran a bit of a six-man rotation, I think I'm fine with
I
that for
think
the
it
most part. If
yeah,
Miles skips a start or somebody else skips a start and Liberatore takes over, I think I'm fine with that. I think the Cardinals are clearly in a place where they just need the best 26 men up. And they're not worried about fudging with service time. Obviously, Liberatore's already been in the big leagues, but that would make a lot of sense to me. I just don't know, like, where do the pieces go right now? Who who is going down if that
yeah,
were to happen? Obviously, we already have some kind of the roster looks a little weird with Newton, Packy being down and certain
right.
other guys being up for them. But um, I don't know. I would love to see that. I think it's a great idea. I just don't know how the Cardinals machinations make that
Make
work
it
right
work.
now.
Yeah. It just seems to me like we need to I know it's only 2 weeks in. It's April. Guys are still building up strength. I mean, I feel it. I was only touching 49, but it's only April, right? I'm still building up that strength, still getting ready for the dog days of summer. But it feels like we need to go into that mode of mixing and matching. We're not going to have a five-man rotation that's every 5th
Yeah.
day is exactly the same guy. So let's not pretend otherwise, and let's start uh, trying the hot hand. I know Wayno's coming back maybe soon, though.
Well, yeah, and I think what a question because how does old man Wayno ramp back up?
Yeah,
Like, does he start when he is built up to 65, 70 pitches, or do they wait until he's got full season load? Because that's really going to depend. And it might be they have Liberatore come up, do a spot start. If he dominates or has a productive game, that to me, or the way that I would kind of think through that problem is okay, great. This guy can come in and steal a start every once in a while. Wayno can take his time to get back to be full strength, back to where he was before the WBC, and come up when he's built up to 90 or 100 pitches or
yeah,
something around that, or when he's feeling good. And I think Liberatore could offer that luxury. Right now, I don't know if the Cardinals have that luxury. I think they're
yeah,
probably racing to get Wayno back. Speaking of Wayno, he threw his second bullpen session on Saturday at Busch Stadium, and Ali said Wainwright threw 33 pitches and reported no problems with the groin strain. So clean bill of health. We'll see. He's old. It could crop back up. So far, so good.
yeah. Before we move off the pitching, I just want to touch on the bullpen really quick. I feel like the bullpen is good and will be good. This is an area of the pitching that I'm not worried about. I think it's right to be worried about Jordan Hicks. But after that, while there's been some inconsistency, to me, this is the normal April. We're seeing who's playing well. We're seeing who's clicking. People are, knocking the dust off or the rust off or whatever. Helsley's settling
The
down.
dust and the
Yeah,
rust.
knocking both that you got Dusty Rust. It's my new stage name,
Cool.
Dusty
I
Rust.
like it.
And we're seeing some settling. Verhagen is taking a step up. Like, I think there's more good
Yeah.
in the bullpen than bad. Stratton is looking good. Helsley back-to-back games, which was kinda surprising. He's given up a few hits, but still nothing too alarming. Gallegos has been looking good. Palante was okay today. It was a little surprising that he came in when he did, but he got the ground ball. It just, was hit too soft for the double play,
Yeah,
which tied the game.
not
Like,
his fault.
yeah, it all like the bullpen is looking like we expected it to, other than Jordan Hicks, but even that, you might have said it was kind of expected that he's gonna be all over the place. So I think we have a good bullpen, will have a good bullpen. Gotta settle what this starting rotation is looking like. Jack maybe taking a step forward today is a huge, step forward, so that was a good line. Jack taking a step forward is a huge step forward.
Wow.
A game
You
today.
can tell we've been in the sun drinking beers
Yeah.
today.
I think I'm a little sunburned.
Yeah.
I'm why do you people
Uh,
live here?
why do you people live here? Yeah, I wonder. So I agree. I think Chris Stratton's been a nice little bonus. Like he's kind of one of those guys that's like unsung hero in the bullpen, but him pitching well is really good. I'm really starting to be on the mode of Jordan Hicks needs to go down and figure things out.
Yeah. Well, we
It's
haven't even really seen him much.
We haven't seen him much. Obviously, he is trying to figure things out. But I think what you said is with Verhagen being relevant, that is huge. And Andre Palante, his role in the bullpen seems to sort of be showing itself a little bit more as like we know he's got reverse splits. He's coming in against lefties and he's
Right.
coming in to get ground balls. And it's crazy to me that a guy who throws mid to high 90s with a crazy breaking ball is like a lefty ground ball specialist, but
Right.
that's how the results are and that seems to be how they're using him. But I
And
think
there's a big that's a big like a team needs that,
oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
How many outs did Seth Manis get for
I
2 or
was thinking
3
about
years?
him, Matt Bowman,
Yeah.
you know, there's
Mike Matheny killed Matt
he
Bowman.
did kill
Bless
Matt
up to
Bowman.
him.
Yeah.
He had like 80 games one year. It's
He didn't he
insane.
lead the league
He
in appearances
I
one
think
year?
it might have been 2 years in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, a
Um,
Rule 5 pick who got used, abused, and
and
gone.
tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think you said Zach Thompson, Genesis Cabrera has looked good in like his
Yeah,
very,
we
very
saw
limited
him in person. It
he looked
was
great.
yeah,
What I thought was interesting about Genesis was that he was not hitting 98. He was hitting like 95 and he was being effective. So I'm
right.
curious to see if that is the approach going
The
forward. I mean, the
move,
guy's
yeah.
the guy's he is one of those guys, kind of like Hicks, where it's like, buddy, if you took that down 10%, it's still some of the nastiest stuff
Yeah.
in the league.
When we saw it
Oh
when he
yeah,
was the setup man, like, unhittable at
yeah.
times.
Um, so all that to be said, like I agree.
All that be said.
All that be said, that's my catchphrase. I always say that. The Cardinals bullpen, they do have enough where they could there could be some movement in there. They could make some changes if they needed to. But I think I generally agree with you. There's not anything pressing there.
Yeah,
Um, my big question is what is Jake Woodford going to do in his next start? And will that determine if
yeah,
he's going down and maybe a Libertor's coming up or who knows what?
yeah,
It's like I agree, Jake Woodford earned the job. It
absolutely.
just hasn't been there.
Right, but it's also been a small sample size
Super
still.
small. I think he's only got 9 innings thrown.
He should be starting against the Pirates, which I think will be a good test. We're gonna talk about the series coming up here on the back half of the show, but, while the Pirates are looking surprisingly fun, you still would expect, a Cardinal pitcher to do well against them, so this will be a big test, and I'm all for giving him his time, 9 innings. The thing with Jake Woodford is he has never gotten his shot, it feels like,
Right.
and so the last thing I wanna do is for him finally get his shot and to be removed from the role after, 10 innings or so, but when you have a guy like Liberatore that seems ready, I'm also a fan of giving that guy a shot
Yeah.
too.
Well, and I think like if Miles, Jordan, Steven, Matz, and Jack Flaherty can go 5, 6, 7 innings with giving up limited runs, then you can you feel fine about throwing Woodford out there and
Right,
saying, "Hey, not Packy, but Zach Thompson has your back today, or
right,
Verhagen has your back today, or whatever. Like, give us what you got. We'll take you out when you're losing it." It's a lot harder to do that when the other starters aren't performing.
Yeah, when your bullpen's not rested,
Right.
you need yeah. Zach Thompson, another guy that I'm feeling really good about. We have been for like a year and a half now, but seeing it this year
I
too.
mean, he's filthy.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
it's hard not to like what that guy brings.
yeah. Lefty throwing high
Oh
90s.
yeah.
So that's our take currently on the pitching. We're not saying that there aren't problems up and down this team. Obviously, the results show that, but I would urge at least a little bit of patience
Yeah.
as some of this still settles and we get out of this incredibly small sample size. But of course, it's been a rough start to the season for the Cardinals, and a series win against the Rockies does not change that. But hopefully, it's a step in the right direction. Let's talk about the hitting a little bit. The part of the team that I think is the most easy to be excited about. We talked about Jordan Walker for a little while. We've been we I mean, we gotta talk about Nolan Gorman,
My
right?
goodness.
Like, talk about Gormania. I mean, I need to go to a hospital, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sweating, and it's not just because 'cause I'm so close to the sun. We saw 2 go-ahead home
Timely,
runs, one of
yes.
them an opposite field home run. Gorman's gotta be in the lineup every day at this point.
I mean, I don't believe this, but he is the best hitter on the Cardinals right now. Like this very second. Obviously, I don't think he's better than Goldie or Arenado,
Yeah, and
but
Goldie is quietly continuing his
oh,
MVP,
yeah,
and or Arenado also had a clutch home run
yeah,
and 3-run double, but
yeah,
like, what Gorman is doing is what it's always you're always more excited about the new guy.
of course.
Goldie and Arenado are doing what you want them to do, and they're the core of the lineup. Gorman, coming into the year, is like, we think there's an adjustment. He's been this big prospect. He's been overshadowed by Jordan Walker, though. What's this? This felt like a make or break year for Nolan Gorman as far as a spot on the lineup, let
To be a
alone
regular on the
yeah, to be a
Cardinals, yeah,
regular,
yeah,
right? He's been the center of trade rumors for a while now. It just felt like, is he actually a guy? Is he the
right.
guy or is he not? And sure seems like right now, I'm ready to call him a guy.
Yeah, and I mean, having a second baseman with this kind of offensive profile is just like the most fun potential outcome.
Yeah.
Um, and he's clutch. I think the numbers I want to bring up really quick is 4 little numbers, or simple numbers, I guess I mean to say.
Oh, 4 little
I guess
numbers.
they're little because the season's so early. Um, but Nolan Gorman has 4 home runs, 7 walks, 8 strikeouts. That right there, I
Right.
mean, if
Yeah,
he is walking if he is striking out even close to as much as he is walking and he still has power, I mean, uh, he could be the 3rd or 4th best hitter on this team really, really quickly. If he can keep that together, if he can stay within his game, which is super hard to do, and the league is about to readjust to Nolan
right.
Gorman, which is going to be really difficult. But the
Which is
fact
what separates the
exactly.
real productive, the guys who sustain it are the ones who can make adjustments because and so we've seen Gorman was bad at the high heat,
Yeah,
and he made an adjustment. So now we're gonna see how does the league adjust to his adjustment. Him being able to handle the high heat. Okay, can he still handle the down and away stuff? Can he still manage it inside? Small sample size right now? Yes, but we'll see. But right now, at least, it's been a ton of fun, and having him down there batting 6th, 7th, I mean, we talked about going into this season, Cardinals have an incredibly deep lineup, and having Gorman and Walker, and then what we saw from Tyler O'Neill today, I mean, this is the bread and butter of this team, right? Is that you've got 25 to 30 home run power up and down the lineup. And if they're not power guys, they're hopefully on base guys like your Donovans, right now your Walkers and things like that. It hasn't shown itself. The Cardinals have had a lot of bad luck as far as sequencing and hits with runners in scoring position, but there's not a lot of control you have around that. All you can do is control your approach. and, I see no reason to not feel as hyped, if not more hyped for this Cardinal offense,
Yeah.
after these first 2 weeks.
And one quick note I wanted to bring up on Gorman before we move on is so what he's doing is amazing, right? But I think what also is crazy. So obviously the high fastball was his issue. He's made an adjustment to that. He is slugging 600 this early this season
Yeah,
on fastballs, which is crazy.
pretty good.
But I also think what is equally nuts is that last year, obviously, far more plate appearances and events to look at on breaking balls in 2022 he had a slug of 493 and on off speed a slug of 527. So usually a guy will come up and he'll crush fastballs and have trouble with the slow stuff and the breaking stuff or the reverse of that or
Yeah.
whatever. But the fact that he already was hitting breaking balls and off speed pitches and is now made a real adjustment to hitting the fastball like it the I these are real changes that we can really get excited about,
Yeah.
and, like, there's gonna be like I said, there's gonna be another change, and it's gonna be harder, but that is huge right there.
Yeah. Going into the season, we were saying, is a Schwarber the right comp for a Nolan Gorman? Gonna strike out a ton, low batting average, but gonna hit 30 to 40 bombs. And we were both super happy with that
Oh,
type
yeah.
of comp. Uh, Super small sample size. We can't reiterate that enough.
Yeah.
But right now, that comp does not feel accurate anymore.
Yeah.
He's hitting the ball hard. He's hitting it in multiple directions. He's not striking out as much. Um,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
it
what's prettier than a left-handed power hitter going opposite field? Like, it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah, it's just great.
So we're obviously super hyped on Gorman still. We were the title of our episode last week was about Gorman, and he's continued it this week, and it just makes this lineup so much better.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if we're going to see a switch in the lineup sometime soon to get some of these guys that are crushing in the bottom half up into the top half. Tommy Edman has been a little concerning, though he had a great leadoff home run in one of the games this week. And Brendan Donovan has been kind of in a weird spot, though he's looked better the past couple games. I'm just curious if we see a Walker up higher. Do we see a Gorman up higher? Uh, how long do we stick with Wilson in the 5 spot before we put
Yeah.
someone even like a Tyler O'Neill who had a huge bomb today? Um,
We were kinda talking about this a little bit over these 3 games, but if I had my druthers right now, I think I would have Brendan Donovan at the top, although a little curious about the adjustments he made and seeing how that kind of plays itself out, and I would really like him to keep his on base thing. But moving Goldie back up to 2 and putting Nolan at 3
yeah,
and then putting some combination of Gorman, Tyler, Walker behind that. Obviously got to find a spot for Wilson Contreras as well, who has had admitted very slow start to the season.
yeah,
He is by like far and away the least productive Cardinals starter right now with an OPS plus of 40.
yeah.
Tyler O'Neill's
He's
rocking a
just
75.
he's just not hitting the ball hard.
He's just not hitting the ball hard, and I can't tell you how, over this series, this 3 games that we've watched, obviously in person and intently. Um, we saw Nolan Arenado get walked on 4 balls straight. Wilson Contreras comes up and gets out in the first pitch. Like
Right.
it should, the approach isn't there. That being said, it would make sense to me that a catcher who is focusing on his defense and a new pitching staff starts the season slow.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Contreras, big picture. I think that when we get to the end of the season, he will be what he has been. His the back of the baseball card numbers or whatever will look good. I do wonder if it would make sense right now to adjust the lineup to play the hot hand a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't wanna overstate these conversations because lineup, construction is the easiest thing to get mad at as
yeah,
a fan, and also one of the things that has, like, the least amount of, uh, like, real impact or
yeah,
or real, like you can never truly know if you were right or wrong
right.
about how your lineup, construction worked. But it would make sense to me right now in this current moment to swap out Contreras for someone else until he's hitting the ball harder and is
Yeah,
returning to what we know he will be, and just capitalize on the Gorman,
yeah,
the hot hand of Gorman. We've Ollie has been pretty good at mixing and matching the lineup. I know they came into the season saying the one thing we know is 3-4-5,
yeah,
and I respect that. I appreciate it. I It feels a little narrative thing, but that's something that enough people have talked about, that, like, consistency in a lineup matters for some people, that I am like, I'm willing to just, believe it,
sure.
and move on. But I think we're getting closer to the point where Contreras should probably be dropped.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Walker, because there's so many different arguments on, like, they're doing what is a very classic thing you do with prospects. Put him in the 7, put him in the 8,
no
no
pressure. Yeah,
pressure, just let it run, but he's doing so well that I just wanna see him
I
in
know.
better situations, more RBI type situations, just more at bats, frankly. That was today, with being in the 8 spot, we were a little worried that he wouldn't even get the 4th at bat situation to continue his streak, and, like, that wouldn't be a big thing at the top of the lineup. Not that the streak matters, but more just getting his bat
Right.
more chances to play. Yeah, I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, I think the I agree with what you're saying about both of Wilson Contreras' situation and Jordan Walker's situation. I think the one adjustment that I would like to see, and again, I don't really have any complaints about this offense. They're playing
No.
well. It's just the timeliness of everything.
Yeah.
I do really like the idea of the pitcher guaranteed having to face Goldie and Nato in the
Yeah.
first inning. That's just kind of like that sounds tough to me. Like
Well,
that,
and it
I kind of love it.
it's pretty standard, understanding in advanced analytics and sabermetrics that the 3rd spot in the lineup is one of the least productive spots in the lineup, in the top 5. It's, like, the worst spot to put one of your best hitters as far as, run driving
Yeah.
opportunities. Um, the the simplest way I've always understood it is that of the top 5 positions, the 3rd position comes to the plate with runners on the fewest amount of times. And that's strictly because inning 1, uh, the first 2 guys get out and you're coming up 2 outs, nobody on.
Right.
That happens enough that it skews it to make the 3rd position the least valuable position, and, so you want your best hitter in the 2 spot
Sure.
is the general consensus. I'm fine with all the other arguments. There's the mathematics side to it. There's a lot of other arguments around it. But the Cardinals have followed this in the past. Let's not forget Goldie batted in the 2 spot for the majority of last year,
Right.
so they had done this before. I would also like to see that return. I would like to see maybe a Goldie in the 2, and then one of these other younger guys in the 3, and keeping Arenado at 4, I think would be interesting, although your argument of every game starts with Goldie and Arenado back to back no matter what, it's hard to argue with.
Es
It's fun.
especially if Donovan's rocking a near 400 on base
Right.
percentage, Goldie's rocking a near 400 on base percentage, and Arenado, like, it's just a tough way to start the game. But yeah, I think yeah, we could cut this up in 1,000 different
Yeah.
ways. Also breaking up the, righty lefty combo.
Yeah.
I would, or breaking up the righty, is something I'd be interested in. That being said, like, obviously Nato and Goldie don't really have problems against lefties or
No,
righties, so it's
they're good
doesn't
wherever.
really matter,
Man,
yeah.
so
Just be
Goldie
great at baseball and it's
Yeah,
all
why
works
why don't
itself
we
out.
just get a couple more Goldies and
Yeah,
Arenados? Man, it's so fun to watch those
it
guys.
is.
Goldie rocking a near he went into today with a 500 OBP, and, then we saw Arenado, hitting bombs, a huge 3-run double in the 2nd game of
Yeah,
the series, just like
grinding that pepper.
yeah, they're bringing the pepper grinder
Yeah,
back.
they are.
Yeah. Even without Newt, I don't know if he signed off from the injured list or not. I don't know. Anyway, so we're still feeling good about the Cardinal offense.
Yeah.
I think that it all comes down to
Not fun to
sequencing
be
and
in last place, but the team is still good.
yeah, yeah. There things will normalize. We're not saying there aren't problems. We spent, I think, a lot of time talking about all the problems on the pitching, but the Cardinal offense is something that we should have a good time with
Yeah.
all summer long. Anything else you want to talk about with this last week of games and what's been working and not working?
I just wish I could go see more Cardinals games.
I know, I
A
know.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're going to talk about the next series and some stuff from around the league. But before we do that, we want to take a moment to remind everyone that this show is listener supported through Patreon.
Yeah,
It's
we don't have fans.
yeah, no one we're listener supported via patreon.com/slash talking about birds. We really enjoy, we really love bringing the show to you every week. But we'd be lying if we didn't say like the support that you give us is needed and really helps expand the show and really, you know, just really reinforces our ability to bring this every week. So if you enjoy the show, you want to support us, uh, Patreon, all of our tiers are very low, except for our Build a Wit tier. We just need one person.
Do it.
We just need one person, 1.5 million a month, just one time, and we'll cancel the show.
We'll
That's all we're
stop.
asking
Yeah.
for. But anyway, consider supporting the show financially. Patreon.com/slash talking about birds. As the Patreon grows, we also want to bring more things to the Patreon. We're talking about other things we can do to expand this show. But we want to, see it grow more before we get to that
Yeah.
point. So consider joining. Anyone who does gets access to our private Discord. We call it the Bird Scored.
Tweet,
We're
tweet.
we're having a great time in there. We got our fantasy baseball league going. Ben had a
First place. Let's
yeah, 1
go.
weekend, Ben's in first, but we all know that's gonna end soon. He's bad, and, yeah, it's just a nice place to be, good people enjoying Cardinal baseball together.
Yeah.
Follow the Cardinals in a way you never have before this year. Get in the Bird Scored, be a part of it.
Wow.
And if you can't do that, consider leaving us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It helps us show up, better in search functions and whatnot. Ben, if people want to find us online and in other ways, where else can they how else can they find us online?
Yeah, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Talk About Birds. Follow us on Instagram at Talking About Birds. You can email us any questions, thoughts, challenges, and fast pitch competitions to talkaboutbirds at gmail.com. We also have a TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. Check us out there. We're doing stuff. Maybe we'll put some of the pitching footage
I
up
think we
there.
probably should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to say that if you prefer to listen to us on Spotify, you can find us there. Follow the pod on Spotify. And if all that is too much, you can check out talkingaboutbirds.com. Easy way to find all the crap I just
Yes.
listed rather than searching all those. But just go to talkingaboutbirds.com and click our links.
We've got a website now, talkingaboutbirds.com.
Talkingaboutbirds.com.
How good is that? Why else would anyone ever have that
I know.
domain?
I
We
googled talking about birds, and it's like, what are bird watchers called? The
birders.
birders. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
bunch of birders stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's actually our second time owning talkingaboutbirds.com. We owned it back in like 2014 and I
yeah,
let it lapse because the show stopped.
yeah.
But we're back.
We're back, baby.
Yeah.
Somehow nobody picked up that
I
domain
know.
name.
I know. Yeah. So thank you all to all of our listeners and everyone who has supported this show. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah,
Um, all right. So Cardinals have a 4-game series against the Pirates coming up.
yeah,
This I don't want to test isn't the right word for it,
no,
but I think it's fair to say the Cardinals have had a very challenging opening 2 weeks. The only bad team we've played was here in Coors Field,
which is always tough.
which is always tough. This is the first team that I would say, in the first environment that I would say is should be bad.
Yeah,
And it's a 4-game set. So
yeah,
we'll basically see the full run of the team. Everything will be on display here. Now, that being said, Pirates are off to a fun start.
they are.
They're doing well. w no one believes it to be sustainable, but in baseball, anyone can win any game, and hot streaks are real, and so they're looking like a fun young team.
Yeah.
They have dealt with a major injury, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but how are you feeling about this upcoming series against the
Yep.
Pirates?
Well, yeah, let's talk about the good first, and the good is Mitch Keller is having a really good start to the season.
Yep.
Annoyingly, Johan Oviedo has had a
Well,
really
we
good
all
start to
knew
the
that,
season.
right?
I mean, we everyone is familiar with Johan, but we know the fastball is really great. And the big change this year, it seems like he's tightened his slider up a little bit and he's throwing it a
Yeah.
little bit harder and it's staying in the zone and it's nasty.
Yeah.
Um,
We said it when the Cardinals traded for
yeah,
Quintana. We said, like, this is going to be a frustrating trade for the Cardinals long term.
yes.
I think no matter what, we can say the trade was a win, or at least right now, unless Oviedo becomes like a Cy Young or
See,
whatever. But
Sandy Alcantara is all
yeah,
over the
but
place. Yeah,
Quintana was wonderful for the
yeah,
Cardinals, and we would all I think you make that trade every day.
yeah.
But Oviedo looks good.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
They also have Rich Hill, who is Rich Hill, aka Dick Mountain,
Yep.
and Ronasi Contreras is hasn't had a great start, but that guy's got like
He's
he's got
got
something special. He
yeah,
he could be tough for a long time, and of course they have on the back end David Bednar. So I say all that to say that the pitching core is pretty solid. It's not great,
yeah,
but like Mitch Keller would be the 2 or 3 on the
yeah.
Cardinals,
Low
probably.
bar to leap, but yeah,
It is.
he would be he'd be one of our better starters.
Yeah, and then on the other side, unfortunately, like Nate alluded to, big bad news. O'Neal Cruz is more than likely out for the year because of a very silly home plate collision
Yeah.
mix-up play that happened. Broke his ankle,
I
which
think they're
is bad for
saying
baseball.
yeah, I think they're saying 10 to 12 weeks, which is 3 months, which is,
Tell you what,
but
see a guy 6'7" coming back from an ankle
that
injury,
yeah.
I think it's gonna be hard.
There's 2 different things here. Coming back is one thing, and then
Yeah,
coming back and being effective is
yeah.
another. It is a huge bummer. I mean, and not just because he's huge. Um,
He is so big.
he's like W you as a fan of baseball, we
Yeah,
want guys like O'Neal Cruz crushing. We want him out there helping return the Pirates
yeah,
to, a competitive level. We like the Pirates. They're probably my favorite team in the Central that's not the Cardinals.
agree.
Um, and so, like, it's a huge bummer. Obviously, on a up and down competition level, it does hurt them. It's gonna make this series easier for the
Yeah.
Cardinals, but we would much rather just beat O'Neal Cruz than not have him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just
Um,
again, just watching him play is a
yeah,
blast.
it's so much fun. He's like Giancarlo Stanton, but playing shortstop.
Yeah. Yeah.
And McCutcheon is having a good start,
McCutchen has had a
which is
very
fun.
hot start. He's got a 180 OPS plus. He seems to be recharged. He's doing that thing where he's hitting the ball hard sometimes. He's walking a lot. I think what's great is he's back in the field. And I think if you look at his stats and some of his baseball savant numbers, I think people would be surprised that he still has his legs. He still hits the ball hard. He still walks on a good clip.
Yeah,
I would it I think it'd be silly to bet against Andrew McCutcheon. It would not shock me. I don't think he's gonna, like, be an all-star, but it
no,
would not shock me if he was a productive player all year.
he's a candidate for comeback player of the year to
Yeah.
me. Yeah,
Yeah, healthy, he's back home, all that good stuff. And then Brian Reynolds is having I mean, he's a great
he's a
player.
legit star.
He's having a crazy start to the
Yeah.
season as well.
He is, and he'd be a star on any big market team,
Yeah.
he'd be a
Well,
more
when he
household
gets
name.
traded to the Yankees.
Yeah, right? Well, that's been the rumor,
Yeah.
but the Pirates keep pretending that they're gonna extend him, which, to be fair, I actually we were talking about the Orioles, I think we were talking with someone at one of these games we went to about the difference between, like, the Rockies and the Orioles ownership just straight up says, like, "We're gonna do bad things."
Yeah.
At least the Pirates ownership is saying, "We want to extend our
Right.
star," whether they do or do not is one thing,
Mm,
but it's nice for them to be
yeah.
acting like it.
Pay him if you wanna extend him. You can give him money.
Yeah, there's actually a just really simple solution
Yeah.
to this problem. I'm sure there's a dollar amount that you can afford because you're a Major League Baseball
Yeah.
team.
Uh,
But yeah, he's having a great start. What's that guy? Bay? What's his first
oh,
name?
Ji Hwan Bae?
Ji Bay. Huge walk-off home run.
Yep.
I love a bat flip.
Yeah.
big bat flip. Yeah, they're a fun team,
Yeah,
you know?
they also G-Man Choi has had a slow start to the season. I think G-Man Choi is a very good left-handed hitter.
Yeah,
So wouldn't be surprised if he kicks into gear here soon. And Key Brian Hayes he's had a super slow start, but he is maybe the best defensive third baseman in baseball, and he's stealing bases. So there's talent there.
yeah. They're still probably gonna end the season in 4th place in the NL
Yeah,
Central, but, because the Cubs are looking pretty good too.
right.
But they at least will hopefully be a fun brand of 4th place baseball.
Yes. Well, they got young, exciting guys at least.
Yeah,
Hopefully, they lock down Brian Reynolds for Pittsburgh's sake. And like, I don't know, I think Mitch Keller's a really interesting guy. That being said, like, if he got traded midseason, that would not be
yeah,
shocking.
yeah.
But yeah,
As long as they don't they're so bad at trades. They just
yes,
I mean, the Quintana for Oviedo trade might work out, but
right.
they've made so many like, what'd they get for Garrett Cole? What'd they get for
No,
Glasnow?
just a bunch of nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, I obviously like to go back to what we're talking about. Like, it's easy to be rosy about some parts of the Pirates, but the Cardinals should take 3 of 4.
Yeah, this should be a good series for the
Yeah.
Cardinals to reestablish that they're a great team. They're a better team than the Pirates. It's been back to back to back bad or difficult situations.
Yeah.
Now we can go back to our bread and butter, beating up on bad teams.
It's what we
Uh,
like.
yeah. So I think anything less than 3 out of 4 would be a disappointment.
Yeah.
Of course, how the games play out, what are the occurrences that lead to that is gonna be the real story, but they need to win this series. They're coming off of 2 wins off of the Rockies, go in, take 3 of 4 from the Pirates.
Yeah.
That will feel a lot better if we come out from that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and then we have the D-backs coming to town.
yeah,
Two home series, which are going to be great. The D-backs have had a decent start.
they
And they're another interesting team. They're on the rise.
yeah.
They
I like what the D-backs have been doing.
Yeah.
Uh, Corbin Carroll is he's a fun player. He's having an interesting start,
Yeah.
but anytime you have the fastest player in baseball, how fun is that?
Yeah, they also have Alec Thomas and Jake
Yep.
McCarthy, who also are 2 of the fastest baseball
Yeah.
players.
Their outfield is wild.
Their alpha field defense is nuts. I wouldn't be surprised if the Diamondbacks lead the league in stolen bases this year.
Yeah.
And then they have guys who, they've had a slow offensive start. But we talked about Gabriel Moreno quite a bit this offseason. He is highly touted
Yeah.
offensive forward and defensive forward catcher, just a good player. Christian Walker had a really great year last year. And I still believe in Ketel Marte. I
I
think
do
he's
too.
good.
Yeah, and he's having a pretty good start.
Yeah.
It dealt with injuries last year, but he's one of those guys who should do a little bit of everything, and fitting in that lineup with all these speedsters, he should be a good batting average guy if it falls a little bit better for him this year. You could see him driving in some runs with such a fast team around
Yeah.
him. And then Christian Walker, uh, what was the last year? He had the highest DRS as a first baseman by, like, double the next guy,
He
like
was like the best he had the best defensive first base defense season of all time.
yeah,
He, like,
it's
led the league in scoops, DRS, zone rating,
everything.
everything,
Yeah,
and hit 30 bombs.
yeah, which first base defense, it is what it is, but hey, if you're gonna have
When
like
you're like a super freak at it, yeah,
yeah,
that'll
yeah,
add, yeah,
it helps. So yeah, they're in obviously an incredibly challenging division, but they're having a good start, and
yep.
they're a fun team.
And honestly, Zach Gallen might be a top 10, top
He's looking
15
good.
pitcher.
The,
He
Alcantara gets all the press out of that trade, but, Zach Gallen was also in that
Well,
trade.
at least the Marlins also traded Zach Gallen
Yeah,
away,
yeah,
so that makes us
yeah.
feel a little bit better, but, yeah, he's had a good start. We looking at the schedule, we are likely to face him, we'll see. Merrill Kelly is okay. Uh, Mad Bum might be cooked,
Yeah,
which
it's a
is a
bummer,
bummer.
but
I know.
he's been rough for a couple years
Remember
now.
when there were rumors of the Cardinals trading for Madison Bumgarner?
Yeah, well, it was last year and the year before
Yeah,
because it's been years in a row where it's like we just need a guy to get innings,
yeah,
and you immediately think of Madison Bumgarner. But I think it's probably or not probably, it's been a good thing that they've not acquired him.
yeah,
I mean, pitching is the problem with
yeah,
the Diamondbacks. Their
right.
offense should be good, and it does make for an interesting matchup. You know, our pitching has not been great, and their offense is their strength. Their pitching has not been great except for Gallen, and our offense is our strength. These could be some high scoring games. If the Cardinal pitching doesn't get it together by then, we could see some high scoring
Uh,
games.
I will say the good news for the Cardinal yes, you're right. Also, Goldschmidt treats them like they're his son. He's the daddy,
Yeah,
they're the son. So I'm expecting a huge series from him just because he, like, always does that. Um, but yeah, a couple other just really quick, Evan Longoria is also there, which and he's having a really great start to the season,
yeah,
and
I always love
well
Al everyone likes
see what
Evan
happens with
Longoria.
him,
Yeah,
and Andrew Chafin, which I think was, like, maybe low key one of the better offseason signings of any team. They got him for nothing, and
yeah,
he's a next level, left-handed relief pitcher. So, anyways, that's gonna be tougher. Hopefully, they'll come off 3 wins, 4 wins with against the Pirates, and the D-backs will come to town, and we'll,
yeah.
smack them around.
Cardinals would be on a betting line, still a favorite in
Yeah,
every game except for the one where Gallen is starting.
right, yeah,
So you'd expect good results, but, we'll see.
right,
They're an interesting up and coming
yeah.
team.
Yeah, they're if they're not good this year, they'll be good next year,
Yeah,
especially if they start getting some pitching. Agreed.
yeah. So yeah, 7 games at home against 2 teams that they should be better than.
Yeah,
So, this will be an interesting week, and hopefully one that we come back to next week, and we talk about how fun this week of Cardinal baseball was.
yes, please.
So let's go ahead and talk about some things that have been happening around the league.
Yeah, let's talk. So we already mentioned it. O'Neal Cruz breaks his ankle, plate collision. If you haven't seen that replay, it is
Yeah.
rough stuff. And then there was a fight, and the like athletic trainer for the Pirates was like using his body to block the guys from attacking or falling onto O'Neal Cruz, who was laying on the ground, wincing with a broken ankle. It was a
Yeah,
bizarre.
the whole thing.
I don't know if I've ever really seen a player get seriously injured and then the other players act like complete jackasses around him like that.
Yeah.
Like, usually they respect that.
I have to assume no one people were not recognizing the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
you know? Because, yeah, it was very bizarre to find out that one of the young stars of the game had broken their ankle,
No.
and everyone around them was just like,
Ugh,
"No." Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, very frustrating. The Cubs and outfielder Ian Happy, have come to terms on a 3-year, $61 million contract extension covering him through 26. I guess this makes him not getting traded make a little bit more
It
sense.
does.
This kind of deal really to me reads like he just wanted to stay a Cub and make that happen.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I almost guarantee he could have got more on the market.
Probably.
Not that it's a terrible deal.
No, he's
Um,
good.
he is.
And he's been, like, slowly improving each year too,
Yeah,
like, each year has been, a new career year for him,
right.
so, probably a good deal for the Cubs. He's the type of player he's never gonna be your star, but, you could do a lot worse than having Ian Happ as a piece of
Yeah.
your lineup.
As predicted by this podcast, the Brewers have extended their beer sales to the 8th inning. I expect other teams to follow suit. I can tell you, we went to 3 games in a row, and it felt not rushed, but like as far as beer sales, like, okay, we got to go now. Let's go at the end of the 5th inning, run up there, run back, okay, and get back and try to suck down a beer before the game's over.
Yeah.
It's noticeable.
I it's still a little too fresh, I think, for me to really solidify my thoughts on this, but honestly, man, I do haven't gone to 3 games in a row.
Yeah,
I, am feeling a little bit like the new speed, rules reduce the product in a live setting.
yeah,
I'm not ready to commit to that
yeah,
opinion, but part of the enjoyment for me personally of going to the game was being there for a while,
yeah,
the just the pace of the game,
yeah,
like, you could talk to your friends, you could engage with fans around you, go and get a
yeah.
couple beers, go and get, you know, snacks or whatever, go to the bathroom,
Right.
and now you're missing, like, innings
Yeah,
if there's a long beer line,
yeah.
you
I
know? And I don't know. I mean, I think net even if I do ultimately feel this way that the live product is reduced, I still would understand and be in favor of the rule changes
Yeah,
for the broader sense of the product,
yeah.
but it was a very different vibe going to these games.
I think I agree with that. Here, so I have 2 suggestions. I think the pitch clock should be 25 seconds,
Yeah.
and I think the batter shouldn't have to engage.
Mm,
Whenever the pitcher's ready, there shouldn't be an 8-second thing. Whenever the pitcher's ready to throw, if you're not ready, you're not. If the batter's not paying attention, the batter's not paying attention.
yeah.
So I think they should be 25
Be
seconds,
kind of fun actually if you
right?
could just, like, sneak one by, burn one by real quick on them.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
you're up to bat. Get locked in.
yeah.
Get ready for it. And if a guy needs to take a little extra time, up to 25 seconds, that's fine. If he wants to go in 5 seconds, that's fine. I also think the 7 inning stretch should be like 10 minutes long.
Mm. For
Um,
yeah,
and I know, like, that might be weird for
for
TV, but
broadcasts, yeah.
hockey, they have, breaks like that in between periods. They could cut to the booth and talk, break the game down or whatever. But I think 10 minutes to go get your beer, go use the restroom. If you wanna get a Dippin' Dot, you have time to do that,
A
and
single Dippin' Dot.
one single Dippin' Dot.
Yeah,
They should just sell one massive I would buy that, one massive
just like
Dippin' Dot.
a ice cream ball.
Yeah.
Like you
But those are, if Rob Manfred, if you're listening, those are my suggestions.
yeah,
I think it's insane that, like, why does the batter need to engage? He's standing in the box. Why does he need to make eye contact to start it? Like, the pitcher should be dictating the pace. And if Max Scherzer wants to go every 5 seconds, go every 5 seconds. If Giovanni wants to wait a little bit longer, go a little bit longer. And you're still cutting out that, like, walking around the mound, the
yeah,
real lollygagging. I think
right.
that there's a adjustment that should be made, and that's my suggestion.
Yeah, even another 5 seconds would probably it would add up.
Yeah.
Or they go the other way around in that, not only do the batter and pitcher have to engage, I think they have to blow a little kiss to each other.
Mwah.
Yeah, you know,
God, he just did that to me in real life. I hated that. Okay, I'm gonna move on. Tampa Bay is 11-0 right
it's
now.
crazy.
There's not much else to say other than this team is hitting the ball, is playing great defense. Nate was talking about this today. Shane McClanahan might be the best pitcher in baseball. I can't really argue against that too much. The team is stacked. Brandon Lau is hitting. Yandy Diaz is hitting.
Wander
Um,
Franco is
Wander
becoming the superstar
Wander
that
Franco.
we all everyone thought he would be.
I mean, they're getting contributions from guys like Luke Raley and Josh Lau, whatever. I mean, it's amazing.
Jose Siri, who
Eh,
they
oh,
got from the
yep,
Astros, is crushing. Yeah, I mean, they're doing w when you have an 11-game winning streak, everything has to be going
yeah.
well. And yeah, I mean, it's wild. Like, uh, all right, so we've actually had very little interruption in this recording. I mean, meant to talk about it at the top, but Ben has two very friendly kitties.
Yeah,
And we were expecting them to be a part of this
yeah,
podcast more, but one of them was just sitting here clawing at stuff right next to
yeah,
it. So that's what you probably can't hear it on the
yeah.
recording,
But
but
she's messing stuff up right now.
yeah, our can
She's biting our camera cable.
we we have a we have a webcam set up so that we can put this stuff
Okay.
online, and she just
I just
totally
lightly threw a shoe at her. I'm gonna readjust the camera.
she's completely thrown it off the rails here. Ben is adjusting the camera. All right. All right, we're back.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Tampa
Yeah,
Bay is good. I also want to point out a group based in Salt Lake City, former owner of the Utah Jazz, has put together a committee to bring Major League Baseball to Salt Lake City.
mhm,
Uh, Interesting. Salt Lake City is blowing up right now.
yeah,
Somebody that I live fairly close to them, and we talk to people from Salt Lake City all the time. Um, I like the idea because it puts another baseball team close to me. It
yeah,
also puts another team in MLB that would have a not as high elevation, but an almost equally as crazy offensive environment, which I just think would be fun for
yeah.
chaos
Just
purposes.
balance out the insanity a little bit
Yeah,
more.
yeah, and just another team on the West Mountain region would be
Yeah,
great. So we'll see. If I was a betting man, Nashville and Montreal are probably 1A and 1B.
yeah, Vegas
Um,
is up there too.
but exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
expansion is clearly coming. Manfred has said it's one of his priorities for a while now.
and he already
Uh,
got his other stuff done.
yeah,
So
so the league's going to 32 teams.
yeah.
very likely in the next handful of years.
Man, how bad will the Pirates be then when the talent pool is even more dwindled?
No, the Reds. The
The
Pirates,
Reds,
you
yeah,
know, we're a little more hyped on
yeah,
right now. The Reds.
you're right.
Yeah.
And then finally, in slightly sad news, he seems to be okay, but veteran umpire Larry Vanover hospitalized after being hit in the head in the Yankees Guardians game.
Yeah.
Just hope that he is okay. We'll hopefully know more about that soon, but scary stuff.
Yeah, they're the oldest people on the field by, like, 30 years sometimes,
Yeah.
and so taking uh, you know, a hard pitch or a deflection off the dome or any part of their body is can be a serious situation, so hopefully he's okay. Um,
That's all I got.
okay, so now we are going to play a little segment, and Ben, we should have done this 2 weeks ago. I just did not think about it,
Okay.
but, if you remember, last year at the beginning of the season, we did a little draft. We did our stars and
Oh
scrubs
God, yeah,
draft,
yeah,
where we each selected 3 people
yeah,
from, the rules were you select 3 people from the, 26 man
yeah.
and then 3 people from outside of the 26 man.
Sure.
And at the end of the season, we will look at the Fangraphs WAR standings and determine a winner. Whoever accrued the most WAR over the year is the winner. And we actually, if you remember last year, somehow we
Tied.
selected 6 different people. We ended in a tie, which is
Completely.
insane. But we are back here yet again for another edition of Draft Day Stars and Scrubs Edition.
Yes.
Thank you to associate sound producer Chris Phillips for that incredible song. He also did our opening music, which is incredible. So thank you, Chris. Ideally, this would have been done before the season even started. We have 2 weeks of data to go off of,
Yeah, we're very bad at this.
which is kind of interesting. I think we've got some early storylines. So we will go back and forth. You can go in any order. You can go off of the 26 man now, or you can take your off 26 man pick, whatever you want to do in any order. But we will go back and forth on this. So uh, I'm springing this on Ben for so he's done no research and in a sporting manner, I also have done no research. I did not plan for any of this. So I think we will kick it off. So Ben, I've got we're going to determine who gets the overall pick.
Okay.
I've got a little app here. You may have seen this before. It's called First Player. It's really good for uh, board games and stuff where you have to determine who goes first. In the app, we each are going to put a finger on the screen, and
Okay.
it randomly picks one of us
Okay.
to go first.
Okay. I'm
So,
touching Nate's phone under
so
duress.
we're doing this live. Can you reach it? Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right, I have
That's
been
horseshit. My app picked me.
I I
Wow.
I personally developed this app for myself. It's all coming up,
Yeah,
Nate.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
All right.
cool, cool, fine.
So, uh, first overall pick.
Yeah.
Who will accrue the most F war in 2023?
Who are you taking?
I gotta go Nolan
Damn it. Yeah,
Arenado.
that's the right
Yeah,
call. Yeah.
yeah,
That's who I was gonna take, so makes sense.
yep. So I take Nolan first.
Yep.
Ben, you have the next pick.
Yeah, sign me up for Goldie.
Yep.
Not that I'm disappointed, but I would love to have Nolan this year, I think. Well, yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
But so is
Uh,
Paulie.
all right. So you've done Paulie. All right, back to me. It gets interesting immediately
Yeah, it does.
after
This
those
team is
2.
funny.
They're the obvious first and second.
Yeah.
Do I ride the hot hand and go with the prediction that we've been having, or do I, pick one of the slower starts that I think will ultimately have a better season?
Wow.
A lot at play here, a lot at stake. I'm gonna ride the hot hand, Ben. I'm gonna take I'm gonna stack the Nolans.
Oh, wow.
Number 3,
Okay.
I'm going Nolan Gorman.
That does impress me much. Ah.
That you know what? I'm just gonna let that one sit. I'm gonna walk
That
on.
was good.
I'm gonna be the bigger man here.
Wow.
You have the next pick.
Okay. This is tough. There's 2 guys that I'm really salivating at over here. But I'm going to also do a little bit of a buy low early in the season. I'm gonna take Tyler O'Neill.
Ah, yeah.
Center fielder. He's gonna hit 30 bombs. He's gonna accrue a lot of WAR. Also, those tight pants.
They are very tight
They
pants.
are.
Um,
Shockingly tight
Worth
pants.
at least a half war.
Easy.
Easy. That was going to be my pick
Wow.
if
But you didn't.
I
So
didn't, but I
no,
didn't.
you didn't.
So I've got Nolan Arenado. I've got Nolan Gorman. Ugh,
You're out of Nolan, so now you gotta really think.
there's no more Nolans. I where my head's at right now is do I take the risk of a pitcher who can really stack WAR when they have a good season?
Wow.
But there's no one I want to pick.
Yeah. Tough pickings.
Okay, I'm going to go with I'm gonna go with Dylan Carlson.
Wow.
I still believe
You're
in
making
Dylan.
this easy for me.
I still believe in Dylan Carlson. I think he's gonna get a lot of playing time. I
Yeah.
think the defense plays. I think he
Yeah.
does everything well, and I think he's gonna have a good season.
Well, good for you. This is an easy one for me because I definitely thought you were going to take this guy, Tommy Edman.
Yeah,
He
that's
he's
fair.
the war boy.
He
He accrues.
Yeah, he does. Maybe I am reading too much into early results here,
Yeah.
but I've been a little worried about Tommy Edman and playing time in all the positions that he plays. Um, well, I guess he's got shortstop,
Yeah.
locked in, but which is a high WAR position, but
Yeah.
still.
And he's been third in war over the past couple of years. Yeah, well, I'll take it. I'll take the pick. It's fine. I actually thought you were going to do Lars Nootbaar. So
I almost did
yeah.
Newbar, but I'm sticking with my early
All right. All
projections
right.
of Carlson over Newbar.
Okay.
Yeah, great pick, Tommy Edman.
Brave.
Back to me. We are now off the 26 man.
Yes.
Lock it in. I'm going Matt Liberatore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Good for you.
He's getting the start soon.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Good pick. Ooh. Then it gets hairy quick. All right. I think I'm going to go. Ooh. It gets tough. Who is going to come up here soon? Um, all the youngsters are up. Am I gonna? I'm going to say who is most likely to come up. Hmm. I will say Mason Wynn, Nate.
Wow, you're going to win already.
Yeah, I think that's it's probably unlikely. Um, but if he does come up, he's going to rack up war like it's his job. So, yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever.
Hey,
Oh, actually, I wish I didn't make that pick. I already have another option. Anyways, okay. To you, Nate.
okay.
I hope you don't take the guy I'm thinking of.
I'm gonna stick with I think we're gonna see a bunch of pitchers
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, that's smart.
I'm going Gordon Graceffo.
Okay, cool. You didn't take the guy I wanted, so I'm okay.
Okay.
All right, so the guy I want Guillermo Zuniga.
I thought about taking
Yeah.
Zuniga.
Now he might only give me a war and a half, but it'll be there. I'll
Yeah.
take that.
Is Vilking on the 26 man?
He is injured,
Yeah.
and we didn't talk about that. Yeah, he's on the 15-day DL.
Right.
IL. IL. I know how baseball works. And
All
we're
right.
again getting attacked by my little kitten.
All right. With my last pick, I'm gonna do a fun one, Ben. I think that the outfield is stacked, but there's a guy down there that I think could come up later in the year, hit a bunch of bombs,
Yeah.
and accrue some WAR. You know him. I'm going Moises
Yeah,
Gomez.
like that pick. That's smart pick. I hope that that happens just because it would be fun.
Yeah, I'm worried about what situation led to him getting the call up in the first place,
Yeah.
other than maybe him just continuing to crush in the minors. But I think his bat could play.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a quality pick from a fine young man like yourself.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, my final pick, I'm gonna go with a pitcher again. Give me Jake Walsh.
Jake
I
Walsh.
think I could
Okay.
see him coming up, maybe being a swing man, but doing some effective innings. We'll see.
All right. So that concludes. We have my team: Nolan Arenado, Nolan Gorman, Dylan Carlson, Matt Liberatore, Gordon Graceffo, and Moises Gomez.
Yeah.
Ben has Goldie, Tyler O'Neill, Tommy Edman, Mason Wynn, Zuniga, and Jake Walsh.
All right.
So feeling pretty good about my team. I will admit that you probably did better with the Tommy Edman pick, but I still
Yeah,
think I'm
you
going to win
hate
this
Tommy
game.
Edman.
I don't hate Tommy Edman.
Okay.
I like Tommy
All
Edman.
right.
He's been a vital part of this team.
Sure.
But maybe I just like rooting for Dylan Carlson.
Hey, I hope that you're right. That would be a lot of fun if Dylan is
Yeah.
great this year and
Molly
puts
calls
up like
him
3.5.
Dan.
Dan Carlson, the history guy.
Uh, yes. Dan Carlton. Yeah.
Carlton. Yeah.
Speaking of names, I have to throw this out here as we wrap up. We spend a lot of time talking about how our team is full of beef boys. I have a new nickname. I unveiled it this week at the games.
Yes.
I want to introduce to the podcast that I'm now calling Alec Burleson Chief Beef.
Wow.
Yeah. So with that,
People everywhere are applauding.
yes. With that, we want to thank everybody for listening. This is our first live episode,
Wow.
or not live, but first doing it in person. Hopefully, it went well and the sound isn't shit. We will be back next week with another episode. Hopefully, a good week against the Pirates and the D-backs. Again, check out the Patreon, patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds, talkingaboutbirds.com for all your social media needs. Thank you again. And until next week, go Cardinals.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, shit, I forgot to record.
Talking about